Welcome to Tavern Talk, our full spoiler show that broadcasts every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. This week we're breaking down deep dive into episode 5 of Amazon's Wheel Time adaptation. I hope you enjoy the show and stick around to the end. Not the best intro. My bad. Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Can you hear me?
We're not very good, Ryan. Yeah, you're very faint.
I'm very faint. Okay.
Yeah, very faint.
I will try to fix that. Go ahead. Oh, nice, Jensen.
Hey, now let's go. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is The Way of the Leaf. This is Tavern Talk. It's Sunday, guys.
Yes,
where
it
we
is.
have a couple pints of mead or Tam's apple brandy, and the lips are loose and rumors fly like pizzas in Brooklyn. This is where we go all spoiler. So, guys. We got our spoilers hat on.
Red spoilers all over the place.
All over the place. With us is Jansen Lashley Haynes. As
guys.
always, our Sunday Almond Bunt, the one who drives the cart for us, while Ryan and I sit in the back in the hay and just yell stuff out.
Speaking of Almond Bun, we met Mayhem Markham earlier, and now Mayhem Markham is circling back around like an almond.
Hey,
What up, man?
good seeing you. Yes, we've 3 shows in like 18 hours. Right? Is it?
Wow.
Yeah. We're nonstop. We're like Alexander Hamilton.
Yes, you guys are. So this is going to be fun today. I'm excited about talking about episode 5. One of the more controversial episodes of this entire series, especially book readers.
Yeah. Dare we say polarizing?
What'd you say?
I said, dare we say it's a polarizing episode?
Yes, definitely polarizing. It has some things that were not in the book that I think were needed, and it has some things that were in the book that I'm glad and was really happy to see. So there's a lot to talk about, and let's start going, guys. Episode 5.
Right. It starts off with a funeral scene.
It does. It is Karina's funeral rites, and we have a beautiful scene of a beautiful voice, which is Alana. Now, there was no way of knowing in the book whether or not Alana had such a beautiful voice, but in this she did, and it was very sweet and nice to see that she was. It showed to me that the Aes Sedai, aren't too proud, let their hair down and get into the rituals of the day and give their part. And I'm singing. So,
in a writing standpoint, I think this is the first cold open we have that is more or less a direct continuation from the prior episode.
Yes.
Everything else has been flashback or some other esoteric thing that wasn't necessarily directed to directly related. But this one was pretty much, we saw Karina get killed, and this is the aftermath.
It is. And the title of this episode is Blood Calls Blood. Now, it is a quote from the Wheel of Time. We just haven't seen it yet in the books as far as the timeline goes. It is a quote from book 2. From book 2, from the Great Hunt.
Wasn't it the Dark Prophecies?
That was later, but don't you remember Blood Calls Blood? The poem on the wall in Fane's
Correct.
cell.
In Trolloc strips. So that's considered a dark prophecy, I guess, because it mentions Slayer, it mentions Isam. Blood calls blood. That is a dark one's prophecy.
And we don't mean to get too
book canon.
Yeah, and we don't mean to go too far. That's just where that quote comes from.
Right.
It's relevant to talk about.
But
which is interesting.
I gotta say though, blood calls blood. That whole prophecy on the wall, very reminiscent of my middle school journals. Just me as a child journaling about my life. That was what it sounded like.
Yeah, I get that. So one of the other things that we get in this, something else that they drew from the book, a direct quote, which I liked because it is something that we hear about, or should I say read about, a lot of different times when we read the series. And that was the quote of Moraine giving her blessing to the dead and saying, "May the last embrace of the mother carry you home." It is something that we get in the first book, and something that they say as talisman in the Borderlands, which is a very, very nice quote. I'm really happy they did that. They're really, really trying to take certain things from the book for us book readers, so we enjoy what we're seeing, because they can't take everything. And I've noticed more and more how many of you out there, who I understand, miss certain things and wish certain things were different. But let me tell you guys something for one quick moment. Some of us who have been reading these novels, it took us 20 years to develop these characters in our heads and in our minds. To encapsulate something like that in an 8-episode series is very, very difficult. So when you get things and you say that that character might not be exactly who you thought or who you wanted them to be, give it a little time, because it took us 20 years to get there. So we'll see what happens.
Well done. Well said.
Right.
So,
and we understand in the books. I mean, so when Rand says this to Ingtar, he pretty much absolves Ingtar of his prior dark friend sins by he says, "Oh, by the way, Ingtar made the last embrace of the mother in the creator." Absolutely. Blah blah blah. And Ingtar's like, "Yep. Now I'm gonna go kill some Trollocs till I die." And so that was
Trollocs.
So that.
Shanchi.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. So that was.
What? I thought Ingtar ran into a whole herd of Trollocs.
Let's see. It was
in Falma.
It was in Falma, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it may have been.
And Rand had just killed. It was in Falma.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was one of the two.
It was definitely not Trollocs.
We need
who killed Ingtar?
The Shanshan killed Ingtar.
All right.
Because remember, one man could hold this spot against an army.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're right. I'm just, if in doubt, I guess you just.
It's like one chapter before Matt blows the horn. I believe it was 3-4 ride 5 ride 4.
Okay.
I believe it was the end of that chapter 5 ride 4th. I believe that.
Yeah, no.
I think you're right.
Here you go. Mayhem Markham, our new favorite friend. Please like and subscribe. You're thinking of Talmanes.
Talmanes, no way. Talmanes didn't show up until book 4, where Matt met him on the battlefield.
All right, I'm checking right now.
I love when you correct chat. Yes.
I'm looking at Ingtar.
I'm good at this one, guys. I'm pretty good at this.
I know, but my goodness. All right. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. I know you've had a literal 24 hours of real-time content. For you to join us at this very time means even that much more to us. We're going to finish up this series of rewatching the Amazon season 1, and then we're going to get back into all of our theory dives, our Beyond the Book series, which I'm super excited about. Again, it's Beyond the Books White Tower soon, I think. Yeah. So, all right. Inkag called the Shanchan. You are, at least MM says you're correct. And that's enough for me. Dan, that's enough for me. We got one confirmation. Let's move on. That's the internet rules. One person agrees, it's fact.
Okay. So after that cold open, and we had our lovely, introduction that by now a lot of you might be skipping.
By the way, let me just mention there was only about 30 to 32 graves that we saw, and they did bury the king's men as well.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
And that shows us the empathy that the Aes Sedai have, and that he was a misguided soul.
Right. All the Aes Sedai were also living, so we saw when they were being healed on the battlefield, none of those wounds were fatal.
Yes.
And in retrospect, 30 or so corpses isn't that many,
Isn't that many because
it's more it was a skirmish or a battle, or rather than a war per
so
se,
maybe they just buried the Aes Sedai and the noblemen. Maybe that the army did, there were more than, they did fight off an army, not just 37 people. So maybe those were just, noblemen. In the books, they do use people's status for certain things. So it's definitely possible that those have been noblemen.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, you're right.
So we're 1 month later now in the opening scene with the whole group. It's been an easier road because Logain's army has been defeated and he has been gentled, and they're walking into Tar Valon triumphantly. Now, this is where we start talking about some of the differences, because in the books, this group of people who Moraine and Lan weren't even involved with were chained through the city of Caemlyn, which is in Andor. And to save money, to save time, to get the show, to get things sped up, they took Caemlyn out and had everyone get right to Tar Valon. Now, this was significant to me because in the books, Rand never went to Tar Valon until very much later. Very much later. And they brought everyone there. I understand why they did it, because it would save a lot of money and almost even a whole 2 or 3 chapters. And they've done things with this to, move on the story. And which brings me to the second ritual that we get right in this beginning scene, where Lan and Moraine are talking, and she tells Lan that he will get her ring back to the tower. And she said it in such a significant way that we get that this is something that happens if warders out-survive their Aes Sedai. They're charged with bringing the ring back to the White Tower. Find out later in this episode that is exactly what they are charged with.
Also, we noticed that Kadari's boots are backwards on the horse that Stefan is leading, the empty horse.
Yes, another ritual,
another ritual that generally condones that it's a fallen leader looking back towards the battlefield on which they've fallen, that sort of thing.
Yes. And they also show that the crowd knows what that means. They're all like, oh no, an Aes Sedai has passed away. What kind of force could have done such a thing? And then in comes Logain in a cage. The exact same kind of cage that he had destroyed before, actually.
Do you think that's one power, Rot?
I think that it may be, I don't know if it's one power. I think it may be, maybe. It could be that, or they could have put, a warding on it.
Or they just have blacksmiths like making new cages.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Because remember, now this could change, but in the books, men are stronger in earth and fire than women. So when it comes to metalsmithing and things like that, I don't know if the White Tower would be making an abundance of, Smith things.
I don't even know if they can do power rot stuff right now.
In the books, they definitely cannot.
Yeah.
But we've seen matches, and we all know where that goes in the book. So we'll see. There's some things that they, who knows? Maybe Eludra invents a lighter, a Zippo.
Yeah.
But
Jansen, before they enter Tarvalon, Matt and Rand are walking. Matt lashes out at some little kid that bumps him.
Yes.
But Rand is right by this like ancient stone that almost looks like a portal stone. If I were to make one,
see,
what do you think that is?
Well, I do think it looks like a portal stone, but we do know that they were vehement about saying that they melded the portal stones and the way gates together in production. They talked about that. Now, whether they changed their mind, I don't know. But I have been looking at the scenery and the now that did look like a portal stone, but I think they would have played it in way more significance if it really was something that they were going to use later in the show.
Right.
Like they have.
It just seems like it's just something ancient. Because later, they run by faces carved into a structure as well that indicates antiquity. It's just you're probably right.
Quibiar. Quibiar says it's just a signpost. Hey, whether or not your reductive reasoning works out in the end, please join the channel. Nice new faces, new names. Quibiar. Reductive with Quibiar.
So we're right on pace to where my notes I've taken are, and we were just talking about Matt bumping into that kid, and then what does he say to Rand? He said, "Stop treating me like I'm your bloody wet nurse." And then they start talking, and then we get one of the first major hints that Rand is in fact the Dragon Reborn, because they come across the White Tower in Tar Valon, and Rand says, "That mountain, it looks familiar." Now that's Dragon Mount, and that's where most of us who have read the series know that the Dragon Reborn born on those slopes. So
in fact, he says that looks familiar, and Matt's like, "What, Tarvalon?" He's like, "No, the mountain."
No, the mountain. So that was a huge hint about Rand and his birth and everything. And weirdly enough,
wait, that would be like me, like going to a hospital and lying down on the gurney and being like, "This reminds me of my birth experience."
Yes.
Right, like seriously, like, oh, that hospital looks familiar to me.
Hey, Doc, were you here 37 years ago?
Yeah. Aren't you the guy that slapped me on the ass the first time I saw light?
Yeah.
Like,
my...
and we also get
Doc, no belly button. Explain it.
Oh my God, you're an angel.
No belly button.
Oh my gosh, brother, Angel Dan.
So right after that, we also get another quote that is kind of dear to the hearts of also the readers. We actually get a curse from Robert Jordan. Rand says blood and ashes walking into Tarvalon. And that's something we usually hear Matt say, or hear mostly in the reading. Maybe Nynaeve once, and maybe even Elaine once, but because she likes to curse a lot. But it was great to hear that, and I liked that I like the timing of it, and it's like, oh, that brings me back, it's
and it felt like home. Jansen, what is blood and ashes in modern linguistics?
Blood and ashes. God damn it.
Okay.
God damn it.
God damn it.
No, motherfucker.
I'm a motherfucker. Yeah. Why am I a motherfucker to them?
Holy shit.
Bloody ashes is motherfucking fuck.
No, I think motherfucker is mother's milk in a cup.
Motherfucker. All right. Or goat kissing. You goat kissing. That's motherfucking.
Yeah, because
right.
little do people know that in those days, actually putting milk in a cup, they were just making love to the cup. It's a thing. We don't know about it. So mother's milk in the cup is mother effer.
Okay.
There's milk in a cup. Yeah. Motherfucker.
Warm milk, cup, put it together.
God, I can't wait to. I gotta find a poster with Samuel Jackson holding up a cup of milk.
There's some,
like a got
there's
milk
some
commercial.
motherfucking milk in this motherfucking.
Okay, now here are some other differences I found right after this scene. So they are in Tarvalin now. Now, obviously, the big difference is in the books they were in Camelin, but they wanted to shorten that down. So they're in Tarvalin. They made it straight there. Now, one of the things that you notice in the book, at least for the first few books, the first few novels, our heroes' monetary possessions were kind of a big deal in some instances. Sometimes they didn't have enough money to get, into an inn. Sometimes they didn't, they didn't have coin. They were strapped for money, and they were always worried about it. Well, I think they decided in the show to forget about all that, because up until this point, Rand and Matt have been pretty fine as far as money goes. And what was weird is they had no money when they went to the little town. At least they had very little, but they were able to afford a hotel room in Tarvalin. So
Like a really nice room.
A really nice room. So did they get money from Tom? Did the Grinwells give them some cash? On the
My
side?
only thought is that it was probably, so he said, "Here, come down here." Tom told me about this place. So maybe he dropped Tom's name, and the dude's like, "All right, any friend of Tom is half off."
Maybe that, or because in the books, Tom did divide money up between them and the boys before the Myrdrell came. So I was wondering, that was one thing that got to me. It's like, how could they afford this kind of nice place in Tarvalin, but they did. And I got that. It was apparently not an issue anymore. And now that I guess money's not going to be a problem for them.
Well, and to your point, they kind of sneak onto the Grinwell farm in the last episode, not because they don't have money, but they just don't feel like asking.
Yeah.
They just don't want to ask permission. They're like, you know what? Let's just not ask.
So in the next scene from there, we go back to the White Tower, and we see something that we hear about very, not a lot in the books, maybe 4 or 5 times, very randomly. But we come to the Warder's quarters, which I think is pretty cool. I was I actually really liked seeing that. The Jews, even Leandrin gave a little brief history of them. I liked that they had their quarters made, and I thought that it was cool that we've also know that Nynaeve trusts the Warders more than she trusts the Aes Sedai, because that's where she's hiding out.
And that's who she hung out with. That's who she's all buddy. I mean, so they had a month of travel. I'm sure that her and Steppen were hanging out. Her and Maxime's friend. I don't remember. What's Maxime's friend?
All right, hey, real quickly, I just want to remind everyone who, if we have new people watching, Jansen Lashley Haynes is an actual Hollywood actor, and so his perspective comes from years of working in many, many, many productions on many different levels. He has his eyes and ears are giving us behind the scenes know-how. So we're talking changes, and we're talking why these changes might be actual due to the realities of the business, and we're learning so much from Jansen. Just want to remind everyone, we have so many good questions. I do have one star question. I think right here, Arosa said,
nice to see you.
Opening of for Endless Snow, one can hear explosions. It bothers me because there isn't any Aes Sedai. So is Luda gone from the show? I know I'm being nitpicky. What do you think about this point, Jensen?
Well, I know that they don't. I'm not sure if Eludra is there, but I do know that at this timeline during the show, they do have catapults and trebuchets. So, and in a lot of those, back in the day, in catapults and trebuchets, they would light them on fire and blast them through the air. So that's what I think that is. I don't think that, that they're doing. I don't think that has anything to do with fireworks or channeling. I think that has to do with trebuchets and catapults. In fact,
I agree with you. I think it was projectiles being assaulted into the city, as you would, as one would.
Exactly. And those were the weapons of the time, the weapons of the age. I think that's exactly what that was.
But again, Arosa, do not forget that there was also a male channeler there who could very well make stuff blow up. We did not see him when the explosions happened, so maybe he did make an explosion happen, and then we saw the king running and etc. I'm not sure.
That's a good point. I kind of, my memory tells me that we saw actual kind of balls of fire flying through the sky, in the background,
we did see, we saw things of flame. I don't remember seeing projectiles, but we may have.
Bro, you don't remember My Balls of Fire Flying Through the Sky?
Yeah, that was a song by Jerry Lee Lewis.
Goodness gracious.
Balls of fire.
He just passed away a month ago.
What? Who?
Yeah, he passed away a month ago.
Yeah, you know what? And
goodness gracious.
Shed a tear. That guy was a rough guy to call a hero, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. 14-year-old cousins and playing the piano with the heel of your foot, all atrocities. Both of them equally worthy of banishment from life.
I mean, the second part is fine. I like playing piano. If you're gonna play piano,
your foot should never be on the piano keys. Brother dead. No, brother dead.
No, he banged so hard.
You don't play the piano with your
leverage.
foot.
He needed leverage, right?
Nope.
He
There's
set,
no chord.
He set pianos on fire before Jimi Hendrix set a guitar on fire. Man,
that's different. This is the piano.
He's punk rock, but he's difficult to rally around.
So, guys, up until we're at the scene I just talked about, the warder's quarters, we're at a scene right now where Nynaeve is starting to accept the fact that she is going to be a novice in the White Tower at some point. Moraine is talking to her and giving her the talk. She knows you're scared. She understands the gravity of what's happened to her, to have the one power strum through your veins for the first time, how overwhelming it is, how small you seem. And she's giving Nynaeve that talk, and Nynaeve is starting to accept the fact that she's going to be a different person than the person that she thought she was going to be growing up.
Which does accelerate their relationship a bit.
Yes,
this
absolutely.
Little in-room thing, this bonding time between the two, did not happen in the first.
No,
book.
And Moraine tells her the truth that she knows is the truth. And it's weird. I like how the production actually held that back for literally 1 minute. Nice to. Are you going to tell me? And she doesn't say anything. And on the way out, she's like, and yes, when I see your friends, I will bring you to them. So she knows that she's telling the truth. And so, yeah, they did bond a little bit there, and I like that. And then we go into the next scene, which starts to get the ball rolling in the production. It starts to get, it's the small snowball that's about to fall down the hill and get bigger and bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster. And that's where we have Piran and Egwene with the traveling people being seen by Eamon Valda and trying to escape him and getting caught. And we see a lot in this. We see the traveling people stay true to their beliefs. And
hell to the
Yes. And you got to love the way that they did this scene of them as a human, a human gate against them. And, it was actually a pretty powerful scene when Volda walks up to her and says, the way of the leaf versus the way of the light.
Right.
And,
so yeah, Jansen, isn't there a parallel in the histories of this?
There's a few, I would say. I'd say there was a few.
Like one is like
stepping outside of this country, we go to India where we have Gandhi, who this happened to. I believe was at 19.
Oh, you're going to our history. I'm sorry. I was actually thinking history of Wheel of Time. Yeah.
I was thinking of the parallels of history and then real life. Yeah.
Oh, the history of real life. I can elucidate. Yeah, we can go on and on about
but
nonviolent protests in real life.
As well.
But in the history, Viridian, we see some of this, right?
We see a lot of this, but that doesn't come until, 3. I believe that'll come in 2 or 3 years when we see that. If we can get it right and keep this show going. And let me stop real quick and say one thing. I totally understand some of the things that the book readers are saying that disappoints them. And I haven't forgotten about any of you, but I look at this a lot differently than some of you out there. This show to me tribute to Robert Jordan's life's work. And it's another way of looking at the stories of beloved characters that we've read about for some of us, like I said earlier, 20 years plus. And for me, nothing bad comes from any of this when you have so many people in production really, really trying to make this product awesome for everybody, including the book readers. Because the non-book readers have a very, very different outlook of this show than the book readers do. Because they're just getting this product that they never read about. So they're getting something that's entertaining, and I love that more than anything. So that's just my 2 cents. I won't say anything else about it, and we'll keep going. I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah. I mean, and the interaction between Isla and Child Volda, I think, was awesome.
Awesome.
I think when he was like the way of the leaf versus the way of the light, and she gives back a burn saying something like, "You can use your hand to cover the light, but you use your hand on a leaf, and it'll just become the dirt. It'll become the air. It'll become everything."
Yes.
Or something along these lines.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, smack."
Yeah. And so what happens then is 2 of our heroes, Egwene and Piran, get taken by the White Cloaks, and which brings us, it segues us into another ritual. We've been talking about rituals in this episode a lot, and they're giving us a lot of that. And we see this ritual where they want to make Egwene extremely clean. They strip her down, they almost sand her of all dirt and filth. And then they put her in white, and they scrub her hair, her fingernails, everything. And they put her in white to meet with Child Volda. And it seems like it's something that, it's not the first time they've done this. It seems like a ritual that the White Cloaks do before someone is getting questioned. And don't know how many people they've done this to, but I'm pretty sure that Egwene is not the first. So it's another ritual that we were seeing in one of the other cultures in the Wheel of Time.
Mm-hmm. We had talked about this before the show, but I had reckoned it to a mandatory aggressive baptism of sorts.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, and it bespeaks the mentality of the White Cloaks, that everyone needs cleansing. That's their modus operandi as a aggressive world, is that they feel righteous indignation, and they feel that the world needs to be cleansed in this light. So I think psychologically, though, it's to be the one being bathed against your will. I
Yes.
can't. It's never happened to me. I mean, except for the baby. But like basically, it brings you back to being a flipping baby, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
needing to be bathed against your. Yeah, it's really dehumanizing and demeaning. Yeah,
But
really
we do have bathing ceremonies within the Wheel of Time series itself. We do have.
Yes, dear.
I remember someone getting their hair vigorously combed.
Wait, I'm hearing something. What's happening? Real quick.
It's off. It's my fault. Sorry.
Okay. Is that Pat and Fane whistling in the background coming in?
Right. Uh-oh, evil's about to happen, right? That is not entirely unheard of per se. I do think that there is some water situation that I'm not quite. Gosh, I'm not remembering clearly, but I thought that there was on. With the Accepted and the Aes Sedai, when they leave the rings, they are doused with water.
You're right. Yeah. Yes.
So there is a weird bathing component.
Yeah, and that's the one. They push her into the river. It's like.
But guys, let's also consider he eats in his office, and he's gonna have these dirty people here. So, but you know what? Perrin wasn't washed, so that I was gonna say maybe he just didn't want bacteria on his pig.
Yeah, Brother Dan. Actually, that's a very good point, Jansen. Brother Dan. Yeah, Egwin gets washed. Why not Perrin? What does that say? The implications are kind of breaking my mind right now.
She's a witch.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
And because it's curvy to have
what if they
grown
thought
men
Perrin
with
could
mustaches.
First off, do white cloaks believe men can channel, and what if they believe Perrin can channel? Would they bathe him too? Or is it a man to woman thing?
Guys, I have an emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yell out. Come back when you can. All right.
Right.
You know, when you have a cold, you got to take some emergency. It helps. It's zinc and vitamin C, and it's full of, placebo.
There is that fun scene, Ryan, where there's a lot of stuff stuffed into this Loyal meets Rand scene. So Rand is reading the Carathian cycle. He's like,
The what?
The Carathian cycle. What do you know?
Why is it online you say it proper, but in real life you say Carathian? Carathian.
Also, Rand calls him an ogre, and Loyal corrects him and says, "Oh, here." But okay, we know. All right, so ogres are a thing. Ogres are they're a thing, right?
So,
if he thought,
but
he
like,
was an ogre,
in this turning of the wheel, that is Amazon's iteration and adaptation. Yes, adaptation with 2 Ds. Yeah, ogres are a thing.
Ogre, yeah.
I don't think Robert Jordan.
But maybe ogres are just like dragon. You know, they're just mythical. I don't know.
No, I mean, that really kind of like took me like that was one of the moments where all of a sudden I was intensely in the moment, and all of a sudden it like rips me out of the moment. I was like, what?
Ryan, you weren't intensely in the moment. Come on.
No, let's get into it. Every episode I cried. Every episode. I was crying almost from start to finish, and then I'd rewatch it and I'd feel duped. But we'll get into that. Right? So no, I was in the moment. Trust me. I was there. I was ready for it. Yeah, episode 5 was a little challenging, and little tidbits like that. Yeah, ogres, they're no ogres. That's all good.
And then he sees the travels of Jane Farstrider. And he thinks of Egwin because Egwin always read that book, and he thinks of her like kind of sadly and fondly. And then He has no patience for Loyal, just like in the books.
Which is very topical. Yeah, very, very like
he has
on point.
no patience for this creature he didn't even know existed. He thought they were fables. Suddenly, there's an ogier in front of him, and he's like, "Oh shit! There's something going on in the street. I see Matt." And Loyal's like, "Well, let me come with you."
I know.
Why wouldn't you? Why
It's almost as if
I'll meet you outside. Bye.
Yeah, no, right? It's almost as if your dog starts talking to you, and then you're like, okay, that's cool conversation.
You're like,
I'll
yeah,
sit.
but I gotta go to work.
Yeah, sit there, stay. I gotta go.
Stay. That's a really good, nice one, right?
So,
I instantly got frustrated with Rand with his like he cut Loyal off, and then later when Loyal shows up with Nynaeve, he's like, fine, yes, Loyal, what?
yeah. Thanks for finding her. Be gone with you.
Oh, and yeah, he's like, whoa, did I ever tell you we could get into the tower? He's like, God damn, what? All right, and well, I brought your friend. Oh, the way to bury the lead. Hi, Nynaeve. Hug. It's so weird.
All right, so to bring it back around to an appreciative point, I did notice on this, preparing for this show, that the whole idea of the book and funeral, that idea is literally a trope that Robert Jordan uses to structure many of his chapters. Many of his chapters loop around, have a start and an end. And if you're really subtle, if you're really astute, you'll see that like he structures his chapters, especially in the first two books. He structures his chapters to do the very same thing, which is what they're doing in episode 5, which is to have these like repeating themes from start to finish.
Okay, so in regards to like this chapter or this episode.
Yeah, this episode. So we have the two funerals, right?
Oh, right. It's bookended.
Yeah. And it, compare that to the Almond Bunt like chapter, and like very, very first chapter. Jansen, help me out. I'm making.
Sorry, what are we talking about, guys?
I was saying that this episode 5 was structured very much like Robert Jordan was structured. It's very specifically the first two book, the chapters where he would have like a theme that would start it, and then it would loop back around, and at the end of the chapter, that theme would be there too, like the Almond Bunt, right? So we have the funerals from the beginning and the funeral at the end of it. I felt that was very much like paying homage to Robert Jordan's writing.
I think you're right. I think that's lovely to hear. I think that's right. I know that Harriet McDougal was a consultant with all of this. So I know she wanted to keep as much of his vision in the show that she could. So I think you're right about that. I definitely think you're right about that. So where are we, guys? And
I was just going to touch on the fact that so there is that ceremony with all the warders where Step-In steps to the Eternal Flame Cauldron with the ring.
yes.
This scene gives much more respect to the warder Aes Sedai dynamic than the book does.
Yes.
The book, for the most part, Nynaeve is right. They are just servants and lapdogs. In the show, it is really showing fleshed out not only their own relationships, but the respect that is given then to the warder as being recognized as this is your loss.
Yeah.
I
I like where you're going with this, because I believe that any faction of people that are living in Tar Valon, especially in the White Tower, have to be so. Like, say, the cook, the mistress of kitchens. She's a lot. I think everybody's more than they seem, and I think that them showing that the warders who have been there for thousands of years, just like the Aes Sedai, I think that they showed that they had their own brotherhood. They, with the statues, with some of the things Leandrin said to Nynaeve, they showed that this group of brothers had their own traditions, their own beliefs, their own system within the White Tower, within the Aes Sedai, and it made them more. It made them more of a group to me than it did in the book. Yeah,
I agree.
Like you said, and I like that. I like that.
I think it was done really well. And to your point, having Nynaeve looking reflectively upon the history of warders, not the group warder, but warders, like individual stone men who had stood for centuries to represent what you are to your Aes Sedai. And this comes off the heels of Lan saying, what are we? We're proud. We this is what we are. This is what we do. So I think it's I really like the connection that is made much more in the show than was in the books, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's something that, those physical things that you can see in production are things you can't get out of a book. And that's why they had to do things like that. Because it touches, reading can touch you just like seeing something can, and they have to do that quickly. So this was a very powerful scene for the Warder, a powerful entire episode for the Warders, actually. But I did want to say one thing really quickly. I wanted to go back a few scenes real quick because I didn't get to say this. There is one character that is a very big character in this series named Aram, who's one of the traveling people. I believe that they have made him a better character than he was in the books, than they have that he is now. He is insightful now. He's wiser now, and he has a different perspective of his surroundings now. And I just wanted to go back real quick and say I really like what they're doing with him because he is going to be a major character later, and I like how they are crafting him.
In the books, early Aram was more or less a creeper on Egwene. He was just had to be shown boundaries. Exactly. From his grandmother worried. Yeah. So this one is wise. Yeah, this and when he does get knocked out, when the horses are all surrounding the tight-knit horse circle around Perrin and Egwene, Aram is in the corner by the tree laying down, and he looks just like the flame of Tar Valon that happened. And now even going back to that character and jumping back a couple of scenes, I'm going to fast forward back to where we are and talk about another character, a big character that has been introduced in this next scene to the Wheel of Time, and that is Loial. And this is a very controversial thing as far as the production, because about 99% of book readers who saw this did not like the way that Loial appeared. Now, from a production standpoint, I can tell you a lot of reasons why he did not look like he did in the book. In the book. For him to be 10 feet tall the whole time, and as grandiose as he is, it would have taken a lot of CGI to do that. And you're talking millions of dollars. So one of the ways to cut corners on that is to have a costume. Now, there have been shows like the Fantastic Four from like 1981 that had the worst costumes you've ever seen in your life on characters. As far as this was, and I've asked people this
couple of times, you know, what did you want Loyal to encapsulate as far as this character? Did you want him to look a certain way, or did you want him to sound a certain way, or did you want him to be a certain way? And I think as far as the actor and his performance, they got it right. I think Loyal, for pretty much, you know, that would be, if you close your eyes and listen to Loyal, that would be the inquisitive, young, old person that we know and love in Loyal. Now, I understand he didn't look like I wanted him to look as well. But I understand, having worn costumes, having had to do this before, I know what it means for this to happen and why they did it this way. It cost a lot of money. I do have some theories, however, about Loyal. And that will come on later in the next chapter, actually.
Yeah.
We talk about.
In fact, there are some early images of the scene.
Oh, I can't hear you right.
So Loyal, they may make Loyal taller in season 2, just based on some early images from season 2.
All right, that sounds better, but speak right into the mic, Ryan. Otherwise, we can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Hi. Carry on.
All right.
Okay.
So Jansen, to your point, I was one of the people that was really disappointed when I first met Loyal in the books. I was like, "What is he running a bookstore?" You know, like, and I feel like some of the clunky conversation with him saying you humans, quite a bit in the first like 3 or 4 lines was because he kind of looked like a humanish, so he had to vocally distinguish himself as, hey, that's you all, I'm not you. But with that said, I'll get used to it. I'll miss the eyebrows. I think the eyebrows conveyed a lot within that. It was Robert Jordan showing visually stuff that would have been hard to do. But I mean, we all do hard stuff sometimes.
I think you'll get the eyebrows. Remember, Lyle's he's a youngster.
Oh, hey Jansen.
Oh, you might age.
Eyebrows. I owe you dinner.
No, I mean not on him. I mean the other Ogier, the older one, the elders.
Oh, okay.
All those things on them.
We're gonna get some elder Haman eyebrows. Okay, I like that.
That's what
but if they're just like mine and don't move or don't, then I don't know.
I will say though, I was able to. At first, I was shocked and just taken aback by Loyal. I was very mean to Loyal, but he's growing on me. But I will say though that they really gave a seminal character very little screen time.
I agree
to introduce this otherworldly character, and for having this person join a group of humans, I felt like they really needed to give us more to make this work. Also,
now,
there's
as far as time goes, they didn't give us a lot of time with him. However, they did give us a plethora of information in almost every word Loyal said. And I have 3 that I found that are really, really, really important to the entire series. Characters. One of the things we did get in that scene right before Loyal stepped in is we saw the Corinthian cycle. And looking at it with extreme interest, which was really cool. I like the fact that they had that. We also got from Loyal that he thought Rand was Aiel. And that was another big,
and that's huge.
Towards that. That's huge. Another one that a lot of people, surprisingly to me, have missed. We got the acknowledgement that Jane Farstrider is now a woman instead of a man that he was in the books. And that is something
that's interesting.
I
didn't see that as being confirmation of that. I saw it as being just
Oh no, it was
as far as
confirmation.
who your heroes
Because
were.
okay. Rand said this to Loyal. He said, I have a friend that she loved to read this book. She would think that she was Jane herself.
Right, and again, so that's like that's like saying you would think that she thought that she was Jesus. It's being gender fluid with your heroes, instead of gender assigned.
And I think with the way production
further down, like I'm sorry, but further down, if I'm like reading the history of Napoleon, and I say, oh my God, Jansen, I sometimes think of myself as Napoleon herself.
Well,
that's it, right?
Well, no. That's not how it was stated. It was like, so let's say Marco Polo. So she read Marco Polo all the time. You would think that she was Marco Polo herself.
Polo.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how
on
I
Team
saw it. I
Jansen.
didn't know if it was confirmation.
Yeah, I think and also being who knows about productions, I think that with the times, with things that are going now, with the diversity that they're putting in all of these shows, I believe that Jane, actually, I mean, having the name Jane alone, very easy segue to doing this.
I actually thought Jane Farstrider was a woman.
Yeah.
As a reader.
Well, but Jane Farstrider we see later is Noam.
Yes, exactly.
So so are we gonna have Noelle?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I believe we
Mother
might.
Dan.
That's awesome.
I believe we might. I believe that we might have an older woman with Matt instead of Jane, because he's already going to have an older man with him during that time, and that's going to be Tom. So I think that
I'm going to put I'm laying my cards down now, and I'm saying that's not going to be a thing in this series.
The Tower Genji?
No. Just that this book, these characters in the book are going to be a thing. I just don't think it's going to be a thing. Yeah.
Huh.
Like in terms of like, it's almost math. The amount of things that they're excising out, I think like, why would that make it in? Like, I don't see how that's even relevant. Like, in terms of
okay. So do you think we'll see an Ulver?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah.
So if we're not going to, do you think we're going to see a Brigetta?
Yes. No over. Yeah.
Okay.
No over. Yes, forget it.
Yeah.
I firmly believe we're going to see an Ulver.
Yeah. Why? So we're literally gonna put in modern times a lecherous little boy who loves big boobs, and like really, we're gonna like portray this little cretin.
I think that Rafe Judkins is going to do what most of us really wanted in the first place. I believe that Ulver is going to be Guy Delcane reborn.
Really, and that's what I want to.
That's what I think.
So I'm sorry. I hope we see Ulver too. I hope we do. One of my favorite characters for real. Like what Ulver means to Matt is everything. But I'm having a hard time like seeing all of this work out. Like they're cutting out literally like 70% of the novels and moving forward with 30%. So I don't see why Ulver is going to make that 70% cut.
Yeah.
If history is future. But maybe things will change.
Okay, so we're on episode 5 right now, and we can do this. Who are the characters that are gone that we don't see now? So 1 is Bella.
Almond Bunt.
3 is
Sam Bowie.
Millie Skane.
Millie Skane. Yeah. Well. All right, so Millie Skane, I do believe Millie Skane can come in later, but I also think that why would Millie Skane be a thing? Like, again, if they're doing a 70-30 split,
Ater, Howard Gold are not there. There's a few we haven't seen, and we might.
Like parents. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. God,
And,
who is Baron raised by?
Who,
Wolves.
Aaron?
Help me out.
Oh, the Luhans.
Yeah, the Luhans are not even a thing. Like, if the Luhans don't make it, like none of these people are gonna make
I
it. In my
believe that
opinion.
Master Luhan will make it and have one cameo appearance. I don't
Ooh,
think
okay, I like
We
that
didn't
idea.
get a buoy. We
Yeah.
didn't get a.
because you have to also. I mean, one of the older gentlemen in the show was actually cast as Sinbui, and then it was changed.
He was changed to grumpy old man.
Yes, and that's
Because he
significant.
dies.
That's very significant because the people putting that into IMDb and things like that, those are the casting directors and the people who are working on the show directly. So that was, a script change, and they scrapped that character. And and what that tells me, though, is there may be a Sinbui later,
Yeah, that's.
and I
I
think
hear you.
Sinbui may be the mayor of the town.
Can you imagine though if they just killed off Senbui in the first episode? Everyone would be like, "Wait, what? You killed off Sen? Hold on, everyone wanted Sen to die, but you killed him still?"
No, yeah, that's fan service right there. Yeah, I thought Sen was the woman, like the man that Nynaeve and Egwin first catered to in the attack. I was for sure that was Sen.
That's who he was originally, but he's not anymore. They took that name away from him.
Grumpy old
And
man.
it's just-
Okay. So, but you're convinced he's actually going to be a thing, or is that just?
I
not
think he is, and I think he may be the actual mayor of Emmons Field,
Mayor.
or,
Oh,
or
okay.
even of like Terran Ferry or something like that.
I mean, he was the mayor before Bran.
He was? No,
Maybe. We don't
no,
know.
he was only the mayor in Nynaeve's accepted accepted journey.
All right, that was Senbui propaganda. I'm sorry, I'm a Senbui. I have a
He was the mayor.
Senbui red hat.
He was the mayor
Make
in
Two Rivers great again. Sorry, I'm this.
Make
Yeah, like
Reagan?
don't listen to me. I'm like just making shit up just to get him elected.
So we see after the Far Strider scene, with Loyal, being introduced, the False Dragon and the Aes Sedai, with the Moraines group, they triumphantly come into town to show all the citizens that the light has vanquished the dark once again. That the Aes Sedai have defeated the False Dragon Logain Ablon. So they bring him in, and big difference from the books to the production is that villain Camelin in the book. They
I'm sorry.
Camelin.
Yes, and I gotta interrupt you right now. Breaking news.
Senbui is
Mayhem
cute.
Marco says Senbui is Q from QAnon.
That's that makes sense.
Actually, I think Bran Alvear is Q from QAnon. That's
Bran Alvear is
the way the
Steve
leaves
Bannon.
Guinevere learned most of what he learned from the outside world from Tam.
Yes, he did.
See, Bran Alvear is one of the Koch brothers.
No,
Obviously, he's Trump. He has his own building. He has his own business.
No,
He
he's
owns
not.
everything.
Don't go there.
You
He's
ever
not
have
Trump.
Alvear steaks? You ever gone to the Alvear school? Alvear wine spring. It's all Alvear.
And so, after all that, and we come in, we get Logain, we get the scene from the book of Logain coming into the town, being dragged in his cage. And in the books, Mat was never there to see this, but it was just Rand. So it was both of them. And we know as book readers that Logain has a talent, apparently, to see TAVERN, and he sees Rand and Mat and starts laughing uncontrollably. And in the books, he saw Rand laughing uncontrollably. We didn't find out why until much later in the series. But in this series, they give the illusion that Logain is looking at Mat. and it scares the hell out of Matt because he thinks that it's possible he may because he's sick. And he asked Rand to promise him that he will never let him get like that. Now, this has a lot of meaning as far as the books for book readers.
Well,
Because
before we get too far, in this scene, is Logain really laughing, or is this a hallucination?
that is another question, because the way they film it and the way they do it, it looks like he never was actually laughing.
Rand is like, hey, Matt, so it looks like Matt is conjuring this vision.
Yes.
So that's the question, I guess.
Which is
the whole thing. We'll never know until we get to the point where Logain will tell us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll ever get to that point. I think that was designed to, again, create the idea that any of them were the false dragon.
Right, I think this is the poll opportunity.
Well, yeah, tell me.
Was Logain laughing real or hallucination?
All right, Brother Dan, I'm on a new computer. Can you log into the Way to Leaf YouTube and do the poll?
Let me try.
Come on, baby, you can do it. I know you can.
Oh shit.
All right, well, let's move. Let's keep going on. I love the poll. I love polls. But yeah, like, hey, my computer's coming back from AppleCare in a day or two, so we'll be set. You don't have to suffer through Dan's open mouth breathing still frame.
Stop.
Yeah, come on, Dan. All right, so what?
I'm trying.
I know it's taking too long. Let's move on.
Okay, so where we're at now is we've already talked about the ritual of Stefan going to the golden fountain and putting the ring back there. I guess this is the gold that makes all of the Aes Sedai's rings, and that's another ritual that we talked about. But we also go to the cleansing, and bringing us there brings us to Volda threatening Egwene and bringing out the power in Egwene, but not just in Egwene, also bringing out the power in Pirith. And
actually, Jansen, I want to say bringing out maybe some powers in Volda.
Maybe.
But I know real quick, and I want to skip back. Let's moonwalk back to the melting of the ring. You feel like that was just an homage to Tolkien?
I do, but I also think that they're making another ritual, another thing that binds. I think they were trying to find as many different things that could bind these men to these women. And, I think that is another ritual of the warders. If your Aes Sedai dies before you, that you must bring her ring back to the tower. And I think there's a lot of different things that could be for. It could be to try to save the warder. It could be...
That is what I think.
Yeah. And it could be proof that she's dead. About it, there's a lot of different things they could do.
Interesting, yeah. I always thought it was just a mechanism to keep the warder alive, give him a purpose, and that everyone around them knows that this journey back, we all got to coalesce and support him. But also, this is actually a really amazing point from Mayhem Markham, our new favorite fan. I wonder if this is how they keep women from making fake rings.
Ooh.
This is a special gold alloy. I love this idea, Malcolm.
That could definitely be true.
Markham? All right. Brother Dan is still mouth breathing over there in silence.
I'm here. I know I'm here. So I just logged in. How do I set up the poll now?
All right. So you'll see just like the bar graph. Look at go to the chat, and then you'll see like an option to do like a little bar graph by the chat.
Oh, okay. Participants pop out chat. Toggle.
No, it says poll.
Okay, I'll look. I'll keep looking.
All right. So keep going, buddy.
Okay, and so The next scene is a very, very big little nugget of information that
Big little nugget.
yeah, that people who have not read the books, this could have passed right over your head. And people who have read the books would have taken this and not even thought about it because they know. But up until now, we have heard about what 3 of the 7 Ajas do. We've heard about the green, we've heard about the red, and we've heard about the blue. Well, in the next scene,
The angry and the motivated.
yes. And in the next scene, we hear, Leandrin and Moraine. And Leandrin's asking about where Nynaeve is being hidden, what they're doing. And she, in a small way, threatens Moraine that, with you not in the tower as much as you are, it's very possible that someone could take Nynaeve and do it. Suggesting that Nynaeve may be turning to the Red Aja or turn to the Red Aja. Moraine dismisses this completely because she is Vista from the Ibit's Field who touched the source for the first time by healing everyone. And when she says that, Leandrin says, oh, you're right. Our yellow sisters will be desperate to get their hands on her. And that tells us something about the yellow sisters, that they hold healing more important than anything else, and which is what they do in the books. And so we're starting to get little tidbits of information that if we listen really hard, we get, which I love. And, it's something that could really pass over someone who doesn't understand yet,
So actually, and I'm going to do a great big callback to the beginning of the episode where Mayhem Markham asked, did the Aes Sedai must have healed the enemy also? I think he might have been asking about, did Nynaeve not only heal, right, like those around her, but did she heal the enemies also, like around in the circumference?
I think she healed everyone in the vicinity.
Yeah. But
I believe
like a centrifugal dome.
And it was Lan dying that made her touch the source. So,
yeah.
And that's even brought up in this episode by Steppen to Lan, and he tells her to touch the source for the first time was to save your. Think about that, So,
Jansen, do you think Child Valda has a blocker of the source, or was Egwene just not strong? He did not seem scared.
I think she was just not strong enough yet. And this goes back to this exact time in the books where her and Egwene were making those little balls of colored light that were almost there and almost not there. And they were very, very wobbly and not a lot of power involved.
All right, yeah. So, Jansen, I'm going to challenge you on that. My prediction is that Eamon Valda actually has some sort of Matt-style Terrio that deflects weaves, because why? Just logically, why would he assume he was safe in front of a channeler who might just be able to just obliterate him?
Do it, child. Do it.
Because this isn't his first rodeo. He's done it 7 times before. And
yes.
He mentions.
Why is he exempt from?
He mentions that she knew that she was an Aes Sedai, and that she was in training, and he knew that she wasn't powerful.
Yeah, but why would? Okay, I would. It's almost like I'm standing in front of a gun. I have a bulletproof vest, and I say, I know that's not going to hurt me. But why does he really know? He was so calm in the face of that adversity.
You have to remember, in the books, a lot of people thought that and made the mistake that accepted were Aes Sedai and treated them such. But there were some few people who knew what they were talking to and didn't give them respect of an Aes Sedai. So I
hear you, but but I mean, Egwene was accepted, and she could blow up armies with fire. It's not a logical thought to be oh, you're accepted, you can't hurt me. That doesn't
Yeah,
make sense if he's going to be like a long-lived
He did
character in the
walk up
books.
unafraid right in front of her. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, you know what? I mean, I got to be honest with you. You have an argument there.
Here's my. I think that we are going to learn that he does have something that does dispel the weaves, and this is where Elaine is going to learn how to make Terangrial by them getting their hands on that.
Or he can channel himself.
Oh shit!
Right. Or
We
he
only
can.
got
But
5 minutes left.
Because I think that he is a dark friend, and I think that he is the culmination of Joachim Carradine and Amy Valda.
oh, you think he's a dark friend? Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay.
So I think he's definitely a dark friend. And that's what I think. But I do
Big
think
prediction.
because I think that Jeffrey Barnhold is going to have more of a part in the next season. And I believe that, and I actually think that Valda is Buyer as well. I think they're putting a lot of characters into him because I think that he's going to be the one after Perrin, and that would have been the same thing as Buyer. I have to believe that we're going to see way more of Valda, and I'm not sure that Valda's in this is so different than the book. I'm not sure he's even a sword master.
All right,
He doesn't
I have some production questions here that I need to get answered before the end of this. We saw
Okay.
Perrin like his eyes flare yellow.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
think that this is how they are going to show Perrin's wolfness by his eyes occasionally changing?
Like he's like hulking out.
No, I think that they're going to show it partially changing. Maybe it might do that more the next season, but I think eventually they're going to be solid bronze because that's not that for production. That is not a lot of money at all. That's in fact very cheap. Contact lenses are not expensive. That's very, very cheap. He will have yellow eyes. Definitely. It will not be. And I believe that when we see Elias next season, I believe that his will be permanently yellow.
All right, so yeah, like that's Jansen's bold prediction. Well, Elias in season 2.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't believe it. I think we might not get Elias.
Cast, I think,
Oh,
right?
he's been casted.
Yeah.
What?
He is, yes.
Yeah.
He is Huron and Elias mixed together, basically,
Pure Elias. Okay.
which makes a lot of sense when you're trying to, make less characters. Because in the show, in the book, Perrin actually became the sniffer at one point, and I believe this is perfect.
You're right. Yeah. Well,
You're right.
Good job,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome.
All right, so the last scene is Stepan's funeral.
Yes.
He commits Karri. He does pray to ward against the Forsaken.
And they change his name. They change Ishmael's name. He is not the betrayer of hope anymore.
What did they say?
Lies now.
Betrayer lies. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's now the father of lies, and that makes sense only because he is. I'm saying people that he is the father of lies, so I understand that. But in the book, his nickname was the betrayer of hope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Father of lies was Shaitan.
Shaitan
So they
was
have the
lies
ceremony. It is a bookend to the first, where they are wearing white. They ask Lan to. They say, "quote Lay your hand on him, relieve us of our grief," and they start pounding their chest ritualistically. Lan gets all quivery, yelling, tearing open his gi. Oh!
And we talked about this before the show. This is something Lan would have never done in the books.
Correct.
Now, I believe that they're doing this because they want to make us love these characters more. And this is the way to do it. If you had never read the series, this makes Lan an extremely complex individual. You know what I mean? If you know, for us who have who have sat on land for 20 years and watching how badass of a guy he is, and how stern he is, and how hard he is, you know, there are very few things in the books that makes Lan's heart melt. In fact, there's only one. And for him to be more human, I believe, is right. And it might not be what everyone wants, but I believe that there is a quote in The Eye of the World that says, Lan Mandragoran makes an apple look like an onion as far as many layers. We get one quote from Rand Siren saying, wow, poetry from Lan? So there are things in Lan that you see on the show that you will not be able to see in the book. And
Jansen, I would say that there are characters that are served by the medium, and there are characters who are like disserviced by the medium, and like Lan is distinctly disserviced by he is a slow evolving stew.
Yeah,
that like you want to like see all the ingredients they put in, and then savor it at the end. But you can't do that in a television show, so we gotta like cut and paste. So he's gonna feel. I feel like of all the characters, I'm gonna struggle with how they portray Lan, but I also understand that like he's doing a lot with what he can. Like the actor himself.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
I believe we're going to see Lan following Nynaeve sooner than later. That's what
yeah, for sure. I mean, they got interrupted in their love scene, but I mean, they were pretty much like gonna hit second base like within.
We're going to see a lot more of them, and I'm excited for it. We'll see, and I'm excited for. I've already got my notes for next episode, so I'm psyched about that too. It is 6:31, guys.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Yes,
we all gotta go.
All of you guys out there in Wheel of Time Land, I love you, and I would love to talk to you. And even the guys who've been sending me hate mail. So,
wow, Jansen's getting hate mail, Ryan. Well,
just a couple.
My hate mail. Everyone loves me.
The paparazzi like corner him and be like, "Do you really think Lanfear is the best?" He's like, "Stop!"
No, all the hate mail is like, Jansen, why are you hanging out with these puppets?
No, apparently I don't. Apparently I like everything, and there's nothing I don't like. But you know what? I'm a positive guy, and I'm okay with that.
Well, there's nothing about you I don't like, buddy.
Hey, Jansen, you're balancing out some very negative puppets. It's helping us. You're the yin to our yang.
Yeah.
Oh, right back at you.
Dragon Fang, you're the flame of Tarvalon.
Oh, I love you guys.
Hey, we love you. We're proud of you. We'll be back next. Oh, I may not be available next Sunday, but we'll talk. But we'll be back next Sunday regardless, and we'll see you on Tuesday. We love you guys. This has been a long weekend for the fandom, so thank you everyone for hanging out. Jansen, thank you for taking the time. Ryan, I love you. Jansen, I love you. And I love myself. From Brother Angel Dan.
Take it easy.
And
until next time, run for your lives.
Run for your lives, because this is the way to leave.
This is the way to leave.